Good evening, good morning or good afternoon everyone, depending on your time zone. Welcome to Sisel's Doctor's Clinic. Your host tonight, from Denver, Colorado, Daniel D.W. Whited. Dr. Kurt Fisnick is in the house. D.W., take it away, my friend.
Hey, everybody, it's good to hear the chatter before the call, and it's good to hear Dr. Kurt talking to you guys and letting you know what's going on this evening. And that was British Rob Cohan throwing some information. He's not in a situation where he can talk right now, so he does that intro, and we're having fun with that. Well, welcome to the Doctor's Clinic, and tonight we're getting in some kind of one of the probably smartest topics that you could wrap your brain around, and it's dealing with the very fact of, how do healthy people get healthy, and how do you take healthy people and get them healthier than what they are, and obviously prevention is absolutely it's the way to roll with this business. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about, well, I don't need nutraceuticals. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm doing good. You want to dig your well before you're thirsty. And Dr. Kurt Fisnick is going to jump into some of that, and we're going to hear from some people that have operated in health. I was doing fantastically healthy until I went through a challenge. What if I wasn't doing prevention? What if I wasn't loading up on some stuff once I felt a little bit of, but I had a base, I had a foundation, and Dr. Fisnick will get into that as well, as building your base and your foundation with some of our basic products like the Triangle. And so we're excited about it. Dr. Kurt Fisnick, welcome to the call tonight. It looks like we're going to be doing some house calls, and so talk to me. How you doing today?
Hey, DW, thanks for having me on the call. I always appreciate that.
Well, it's a blast to have you. Just really proud of you and what you're doing. Not just this. A lot of people don't realize how many emails you might be getting and phone calls throughout the week, some more than others, and building your own distribution system, taking care of your own clients and your own team. And we appreciate you taking time tonight to share with us about prevention and about setting yourself up to put yourself in a position to win. So jump right in there, partner. Let's hear what you got going.
Okay. Well, DW, thanks for having me, and Rob, thanks for your British accent and making sure that the call is always recorded. And for everybody that's on the call, make sure and get the recording out. SiselDoctorsClinic.com. You can get this out to people within 10 minutes after the call. Rob usually has it posted. And I always tell people, if you can't make the call, if you live in another country or if you just, you're busy at this time, listen to the recording. I think we always have some good information to share with people. And the other day I was sitting there with my family. It was Easter, and I was sitting there talking to my sister. She's a year younger than me, and I was talking to a couple of my brothers, and one brother, he's a year older, and then I've got another brother that's 2 years younger, and then another brother who's 6 years younger. And I'm talking, and I'm looking at them, and I'm thinking, we're all pretty darn healthy. We're pretty lucky. And my mom and dad, my mom is 77, my dad is 78, and again, pretty darn lucky. They're still around, and they're relatively healthy, and everybody suffers from health challenges and that, but I was thinking that, we all do some prevention, and maybe that helps. And as I thought about it, I remember learning years ago, they taught us that for every dollar that you spend on prevention, you save $5 in healthcare costs. I mean, think about that, everyone. I mean, is it cheaper to wait till you have cancer, or would doing a little bit of prevention just help you out a little bit? And if you ever do get diagnosed with something real serious, is it going to be a little bit less challenging, like DW said? Is it going to be a little bit less challenging when you have a health problem if you're doing some prevention beforehand? And the answer is, you bet. It's gonna save you some money in the long run. And so that's really what I wanted to cover tonight. And I know we've got some people that have had some problems and other people who have just really been taking the products because they don't want to get old. They don't want to get sick. They don't want to have the health challenges. And so that's why they're taking the products. And it's in my opinion, that's when you want to get started. You want to get started before you have something wrong. And my own story, 8.5 years ago, I really believe if I hadn't have been doing the nutrition and the preventative type care that I'd been doing with myself when I got in that motorcycle wreck, I don't know if I would have pulled through it as good as I did. I mean, the doctors were so totally surprised. I mean, riding my Harley and some guy hit me and they said he T-boned me at about 65 miles an hour, and I was big enough that I survived, and the car got totaled out, and so the car didn't survive, but I did. And I remember I was laying in the hospital, and I had my friends and my family sneaking my nutritional products into the room, and the doctor would say, absolutely not, you can't be doing them. And I'd kind of tell my family and my friends, I'd say, just put it in the dresser drawer there, and one way or another I'll get to it. And every day I took my nutritional products, and I really think that's part of what pulled me through where I'm at, and get me to where I am at today. But anyhow, what I'd love to do is let's go out to down by Sartell, Minnesota. Let's go over to Murph, and I know, Murph, you're heading out to the convention next week. I'll be seeing you down there. You're flying, I'm driving. Jump on the call. Just hit *6 and jump on the call, and share with us a little bit about your history and why you're here with us in Sisel today. What you're taking.
Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
All right. Well, I've had, some challenges all my life. I lived a full life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm a recovering hippie. I'm a recovering Catholic and all this other good stuff. But, I had a quad bypass back in 2002, and there was a couple times, there was like 3 times they gave me the last rites, and I pulled through and had some good product that helped me out, And then about 10 years later, I got off all my medications and stuff. But about 10 years later, and I'd say about when our black coffee came out, August 26, 2014, I bought it right away because I'm a coffee freak. And I trusted Tom Mauer's testimony and the things he talked about and everything. And I got on the coffee right away. But prior to that, if I can back up a little bit, I have lost close to 26 pounds. I was gray. I was getting cold chills, sweat, changing my pillowcase every night and my T-shirt. And a lot of my friends thought, hey, Murph, you should go to the doctor. I think you got the big C. I went, oh, boy. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor did an upper GI, and he said, well, Murph, no wonder you're losing all this weight. No vomiting, no diarrhea or nothing like that, just chills and sweating. You got a severe candida infection of the esophagus. I went, really? Yeah. And so he gave me some medication, and it knocked it out for about 2 months. And then it came back with a vengeance. And I thought, God dang it. And I started throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it. And I even asked him, I went back, I said, can you give me some more of that? Because, it's all happening all over again. But then August 26th, our instant black coffee came out with the chaga, ganoderma, and the whatever. And from day one, I have not had a chill or sweat. I got my weight back. I got a bounce back to my walk. I'm doing really good. I'm 63 going on 39, and but I got kids in my life that I'm part of their life. I got a health that it's hard to put words to it or even describe it money-wise, because when you get in tune to something that's so enriching, not only physically and spiritually and mentally, but you can share it with others, it is really cool. So, yeah, you can't take my coffee away from me. I tell you, I have, I do the weight loss coffee, and I do I'm really strung out and addicted to Ultramax, but don't tell nobody about that. I love that Ultramax, it's really good stuff. The neat thing about Ultramax is, being a recovering heart patient, it's got an ingredient in it called D-ribose, and it's really, really, really good for the heart. And so I mix that up with my tea and my weight loss coffee, and I'm doing fine. I do the Brain Vitality, and now I'm doing the new Sisel Immune, and I love Sisel. When it comes to kind of bragging, one thing, I've been in a lot of companies, but I've never been reimbursed for shipping and handling to buy more product. Never in my whole 63 years. And I'm like Daffy Duck. I tell people, hey, look at this, man. I got $570 dollars to spend on product. Well, where'd you get that? Well, Tom just gave it to me because of my shipping and handling. No. And there's not a company on the planet that does that, But, it's a family. I can't wait to be out to, rub elbows with people. I'm sharing a room with a handful of people, and, yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it is all good. And, praise and glory to Jesus Christ, because without his grace and love, I wouldn't be able to share my story. So thanks a lot, Kurt.
You bet, Murph. Thanks for sharing that. And you hear that. I mean, here's a guy that suffered from some serious health challenges and probably shouldn't be with us, and he was able to reverse that and turn that around, and now he's able to spend some time with family and his friends, and he'll be out there at convention, and make sure when people are out there, get his story, get Murph's story, so you can share that with other people. What I'd like to do now, let's go out to Phil Johnson. Phil, if you could jump on the call, and I know you're you keep yourself in pretty good shape. Physically, you're in pretty good shape. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, how you're keeping yourself in shape these days, and what you've been up to.
Well, thanks a lot, Kurt. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Well, what dramatic story so far? I get hit by a motorcycle, and I didn't have anything like Murph dealt with, and I'm so happy you guys turned out okay. Tom stepping into all of our lives, but I have a serious weight problem. I was the fat kid in the school. I was 20 myself when I was in 8th grade, and I did everything wrong, and we know now, Kurt, that those things would be considered dangerous. But in 95, because of being in networking and sales and traveling, I'd blown up to 249 pounds, which is the heaviest I've ever been. I'm 6'2.5", but I usually weigh about 185, 190. And I started really studying, researching nutrition, well before Sisel. And I lost the 71 pounds, and I kept 60 of it off. I was actually 10 pounds light. But that started me studying and reading. I've had some friends that have been famous in the nutrition business, authors and TV personalities and stuff, and had a long talk with them. But the thing that I love about Sisel, as we all do, is the purity and the commitment to excellence with these products. Tom doesn't just roll the dice. He does research before he adds an ingredient. And as far as what I'm taking, the way I look at it, Kurt, is that if you're at a certain age, you've got certain concerns. A male over 50, in my opinion, should be certainly the trying.
Hey, Phil, this is DW. You're cutting in and out quite a bit. Can you move to a better position?
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Any better now?
Yeah, there you go.
Now? Okay, terribly sorry, guys. So the triangle of life is foundational for so many reasons. I mean, that's not our foundational products for by accident. It's for a reason. So, everybody, as I studied nutrition and weight loss and things that help, my father died at a very young age. He's only 53 years old. I'll be 58 next month. He died of cancer. My mother died a lot later in life, but with cancer, but not necessarily from it. So we already know that in 2020, the predictions are that everyone will have cancer of some kind because of the 1,000 chemicals that are put into the environment every year. But I just tell people, the thing is that 20% of your health is your genetics. In other words, the genetics are the weak links of the chain. Your lifestyle will break the links or not break them. People say, well, you've heard the stories, guys. My grandfather smoked and he lived to be 110. Well, that's because he lived on a planet that was about 1% as toxic as the one we live in. You hear all the stories. So I learned these things from key people, and I started studying. And that's what really made me prepared to recognize and get excited about Sisel. So I just tell people, get on the triangle for sure. Find out what your weaknesses in your family are. And let's face it, the big ones of most people are going to be cancer, heart disease, diabetes, or a heart issue, whatever. Those are the big ones. So you would direct those, I believe, with the triangle and the products. I take the Super Omega Plus. I will never miss it. Cleanse on Q10 is so critical for heart issues, and then take it from there. So I believe you start where you can on the most important issues and work your way up from there. And that's what I talk to everybody about. Triangle plus what's your weakness is my approach. Triangle plus what's your weakness. And that's how I promote the products. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, Phil, thanks for sharing that. And Phil, I never knew that you had a weight problem. I mean, God, I'll tell you what. I never would have guessed. You look like you've always been in shape.
Well, yeah, I know people, I comment to them if I can help them. They say, well, how would you know? And I pull out a picture I was actually on an infomercial with a famous author, and people don't even believe it's me, but I tell people I was Rodney Dangerfield fat. I was so fat I got a sheesh on. I had to take the guy's word for it. Okay, that's how I was really heavy, and people don't even believe it's me. But this is 21 years this summer, Kurt, that I've kept that weight off. And I don't only do Sisel, I do some lifestyle things, but it's not nearly as hard as it used to be simply because we've got so much information now. And with these Sisel products, honestly, there's really no excuse not to get your health under control because of what I call the weaponry we've got in this company. Thanks.
Exactly. I totally agree with you, Phil. I mean, when Tom makes a product, he just doesn't put a sprinkling of the stuff in there. He puts exactly what you need. Well, thanks for sharing that. What I'd like to do, I don't know if my friend Leilani from Bismarck, North Dakota, did you make it onto the call, Leilani? I didn't hear you get on in the beginning, so I'm wondering if you didn't make it. Let's go out to Don Olson out in Montana or wherever you happen to be right now. I know you're from Montana. Don Olson, if you want to jump on the call. And here's another guy like Phil that, you'd never guess that this guy has had any kind of health challenges in his life. And so, Don, share with us a little bit about what you've done over the years to keep yourself in shape and what products you're using right now to just, like I said, prevention. What are you doing so that 10, 20, 30 years from now, you're that guy that's telling people, here's what I did?
Sure. Hey, Doc. Thanks for having me on the call. And these are great calls and a great way to get these, this information about these products out to people. My story started basically 4 years ago. And, my father had a major stroke, and my mom had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and both of their, the health of both of them was deteriorating and pretty rapidly. And so, thank goodness we have the Google search, and I started doing some searching for nutritional products and natural ways of healing people, and that's how I came across Sisel. And I started doing some pretty serious research on these products, and the science was all there. And so I got my parents on these products 4 years ago, and my mom and dad both started taking the TSX and the Triangle of Life and got them on everything. And it was absolutely transformational what happened 2 years later. My mom was completely off her insulin. She was taking 10 units of insulin a day for her diabetes. She's off that. My dad's out running 5 miles a day now. He's 75 years old. And they feel fantastic. They're out dancing. They're out having fun. They're doing things now. And so I just saw a major, major change in their life. And that was 4 years ago. It took about 2 years before they really started feeling well. And coincidentally, at that point, I wasn't taking any products. I was thinking, oh, it's great, they're doing super. But then all of a sudden I looked at myself in the mirror, and here I was, 40 pounds overweight, not feeling good, no energy, laying around on the couch. And I started thinking about it. Oh, their life has changed, and they're out doing things, having fun. Here I am. I've got the greatest products in the world with Sisel and Tom now on these products, and I'm not using them. And I said, that's not real smart. So first thing I did was get on all the products, and I said, I'm going to join this 3-month weight loss challenge that Sisel has. And I know with these products, if I take all of them, I'm going to win this challenge. And I was convinced. So I ordered 3-month supply of TSX, the Triangle of Life. I got in Brain Vitality, Inner Chi, Remediate, Renovator, whatever they had, I ordered it. And I was all in. And for 3 months, I did pretty well. I lost 48 pounds. I ended up winning the weight loss challenge, and it transformed my life. I went from, being sluggish and overweight to feeling good again. I'm 50 years old now. So I have nothing but, from within my own family, the friends, I could go on and on with, just friends and people within my community here in Whitefish, Montana, where these products have changed their lives for the better. And so, I think everyone in the world needs to know about these products, and the more we can have these calls and share this message, the better it is for everyone.
Right. Well, and Don, is your video still up from your weight loss challenge, showing your before and after?
It should be. I can send that. To whoever wants it. Yeah, that's a funny thing. Before, to add a little bit of motivation, before I started that challenge, I shot a video of myself on a green screen, and then 3 months later, I shot another video with a green screen. I put those two together, so it shows the major difference in 3 months. So that was pretty fun. I kind of use that as motivation. And I also had one of those Fitbits that kind of keep track of my steps. I started out, barely walking a mile, and by the end of the 90 days, I was up to 10 miles. So, each day I just kept plugging away, and I stayed really consistent with those products. And the good thing is, kind of like, what Murph said, I've kept the weight off, and I feel good, and I have nothing but good things to say about them.
Excellent. Well, and Don, I know some of the other things that you've done, and with your mom being able to at her age getting down and doing push-ups, not just once, but just really kind of showing everybody how much the TSX helped her and got her so she got back in shape. And your dad, that's so wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
You bet. Yeah,
I'm gonna try and go out to Leilani one more time. Leilani, if you want to hit *6, if you're on the call, and share your story. I know Bob has had some health challenges. I don't know if you've had any of your own, but are you there, Leilani? Okay. Well, sometimes I know people get busy, and I'm just going to share one last thing. It's kind of crazy. Like for myself, back in the 90s. They finished the Human Genome Project, where they took and they mapped out all of the DNA and all of the little mistakes that could be in your DNA. And right away when that test came out, it was a couple $1,000s to have your DNA tested and sampled. And I did that on myself, and I found out, really what diseases that I was prone for getting based on my genetics. And it was interesting, certain things here, certain things there. And so I've been able to tailor my nutrition based on my genetics, kind of like having an owner's manual on myself. And so I've always, since, like 98, 99 when I had that done, I've been able to do that. And so a lot of the products I've looked for over the years have been for that, and I've been able to keep myself in as far as health wise. I've had this weight issue since since my motorcycle wreck. Other than that, I really have to say I keep everything. All the numbers are good, and I look at the different people in my family, and I look at like my grandparents, the health challenges they've had. I'm working to keep that under control, and that's really where the prevention is. You can really tailor it, and with the products that we have, you can really go after a lot of serious health problems and lower your risk for that. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. And just always remember, for every dollar you spend, you're going to save $5 in the end. And that's coming from some really good sources. It's not just, it's not just me over here selling products saying, hey, buy more of these. I mean, this is coming from the scientific studies. They're showing that if you spend some money on prevention, you can really make out on the end. So, DW, I'm going to hand the microphone back over to you and let you finish out the call.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's very interesting, and it's a great call tonight. It's good to hear from everybody and what's been working for you and what happens for you. And I do use this example quite a bit. When you're talking to someone that feels like, well, I don't have any toxins in me and I'm not doing that bad, and you hear that, one thing I like to ask him, I said, have you ever looked at your air conditioning filter or your car filter? And invariably they'll say, yeah. And I said, and it's full of dirt before you change it, correct? They go, yeah. And I said, well, where did all that filth and scum and dirt and stuff come from? And they go, the air. And I said, absolutely. And I said, here's the thing. The velocity of when you suck in air in through your mouth or your nose, you're sucking it at a higher velocity than even your cold air return. And I said, and that's what's going into your filter. That same stuff that's going into your filter is going into your body. Now explain to me how you're getting it out of there, because you're not getting out of there through nutrition like you could back in the day when wheat had 40% protein in it, and now wheat's down to less than 7%. When you could eat spinach and eat iron, that was in it would be 40%, 60% iron. We're down to less than 7%. I said, you don't have the nutrition to grab a hold of the stuff and get it out of there. I said, there's not the enzymes in the food. Food was designed to where it would dissolve itself and decay and eat itself up 50%. Then your body enzymes would come on and eat the other 50%. And I said, but food doesn't have the enzymes in it anymore. So you'll eat a meal and you'll be exhausted. I said, what are you doing about that? And, so just some common sense things that will help you talk to individuals so, they can understand that when this stuff is in their system, what are they doing to get it out of their system? And that's what this call's all about, is to help you. Well, some of the basics that you're going to want to get your hands on when it comes to Sisel is a product line called the Triangle of Life. It's 3 different individual products that lays you a foundation that can't be matched by any combination of stuff that's out there. Then you add to that, possibly, depends on what's going on, and Phil said it well, the Triangle of Life plus issue-specific things. But there's a couple other products that you need for general maintenance. One is the Body Shield. I'm not going to go into all the reasons and details why tonight. Number 2 is, you've heard of omega-3s. Well, we have the omega fish oils, and we have all of them, the 3, the 6, the 9, the 5, the 7, everything. We have the whole broad spectrum of them. And then there's a coenzyme Q10 product that's added in there with that, and that is just powerful. So those are some products, along with maybe even the Encompass 360, that can make a big impact. Now you break it down to what are you going through, and then you could use those products and use some issue-specific products to help you get through some challenges. And one I like to use that I've used almost every day from day one has been a product called Influence, along with Body Shield, along with Triangle. And now I use a lot of the digestive enzymes that we have in our Balance D. It's crazy. It's got the prebiotics and the probiotics because you're not digesting that food. And those products come in there and help you digest the food at a greater rate. So it gets kind of exciting there. So I wanted to throw those at you. We thank you for being part of the Doctor's Clinic, and we're looking forward to having you bring some of your friends and family and get some people on this call. They might just hear that one thing that helps them or helps somebody else. So don't be shy to invite someone to the Doctor's Clinic. Thanks, everybody. Dr. Kurt Fisnick, love you, brother. Anything you want to say before we hang up here?
Hey, I just wanted to thank everybody for being a guest on the call, and all of you for listening, and everyone that's listening to the recording. Thanks for taking the time. Thank you, DW and Rob.
And we appreciate you, Rob. And everybody, we're going to sign off now. Thanks so much for being part of the call. Have a great week.